Hey everyone, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is that you're watching this video in. This is Moses Correa with another episode of The Coach's Desk. And I want to talk about joints. I want to talk about joint health as you train. I want to talk about how to continue to get results because both of them are pretty much hand in hand. All right, your joint health and your ability to continue to get results from a training program are very vital, and the two go, once again, hand in hand, okay? So we know that with training we need to overload, and there's a lot of different ways you can go about that. You can check my blog, my Rants on Training in Life, for information on how to overload the body through different positions, speeds, tempos, rep ranges, weights, ranges of motion, and so on. So it's not just always that I have to throw 5 pounds on a bar. But it can be. It can be. If that's your goal, to be increase absolute strength or just pure strength, then yes, you want to throw a bar, weight on a bar at times. But we are biological organisms. We do not have the ability to continue to deal with stress in the same way over and over again without a breakdown. And as we know, training is used stress. It's a type of stress that leads to benefit when recovered from. So we have to monitor how much we're doing from that. So one thing, first of all, we want to talk about is recovery. You got to get enough sleep. You got to get a good amount of protein, at least a gram per body weight per day, and then have that overall spread throughout your meal. So if you're like me, you're in your 200s, you would be 200 some grams of protein a day, and you would have to monitor it. You can't just assume that you're there. Because you're eating chicken and steak and things like that. Unless you've already measured everything and you know ahead of time exactly what you're doing, then you no longer need to do that because you have like a routine going on with your nutrition. So we want to do that. There's things like contrast showers and aerobic exercise, joint mobility, breathing, and a lot of other concepts that we'll talk about another time to help aid in recovery. But during the training program itself, research shows us about 3 weeks, and then we fatigue. We are up, and then we just go down. It's called the gas principle, so general adaptation syndrome. We go into alarm phase when we hit the body, we overload it, right, and then the body recovers, and then we get a little bit stronger. But what happens is that continues to go. If we continue to do the same positions, same rep ranges, same weights, or even just overloading too much, you end up going down and not making progress anymore. So a long time ago, the Soviets came up with a concept called periodization. Periodization is simply changing the period, right? So if I'm doing back squats of 8 reps and I've made progress for about 2 or 3 weeks, in a third week or a fourth week, I'm not longer making progress. So now I need to either go heavier and do less reps, right? We're going to focus more on intensity, which is weight, not just how you feel. It's load. We can change up the position of the exercise, so we can go from back squat to front squat, which would give you a lighter load because you can't front squat as much as you back squat. Okay, it's just the way the movement goes. It doesn't mean it's not valuable. It's just different. We could change up the range of motion. We can go from a deep squat to a box squat, right, and maybe add again a little bit more load because it's less of a range of motion, right? Which is box squats. I love them; they're a hard exercise. So we need to do those things to make sure that we're getting progress, but not just that, but to continue to make sure that our joints are healthy and not getting the crap kicked out of them. And we also need to change our exercises every so often. So, but not just randomly. So here's the thing: like, people get this truth and they kind of just go crazy all over the place, and before you know it, they're doing something that's not effective and not getting towards long-term success in fitness and strength development and conditioning and so on. Now, if you just want to burn calories and you really don't want any other reward from your training, then you could do just different stuff every time. But it's not gonna, in my opinion, it's not long-term success and motivational. Eventually, you have to find kind of a goal to work on and stay in the realm of that. In my opinion, in my experience with training for as long as I have, 15 years now. Okay, we're going on 16. Shit. So. Next, we don't want to progress in exercise too soon, right? say we're working on getting towards a chin up, and I've helped people through the years be able to do that, develop a chin up that didn't think they were could, or pull ups and even up to weight it. If you progress too soon, sometimes you have a pain in your elbow, right? And as you do that exercise, well, maybe we put a light band underneath one foot or both feet, and now you no longer have pain in the elbow. Now you're getting a lot of lag activation. That's where you should be for your progression. It's that simple. That's where you should be training at, even if it doesn't feel like it wins you as much or as hard. Because again, intensity is a number and not a feeling. Okay, we can't train by feeling so much. Because if we do, we're going to have, most likely in this case, long-term problems with our joints and not be able to do what we love to do for the rest of our life. So train at that spot. Train at that spot that doesn't hurt. Okay, you should not have joint pain when you're training. And then it comes into changing grips too. So maybe after 2 weeks you've been doing that chin up. Maybe you're doing a neutral grip pull up with your hands side by side. Maybe we want to go to a pull up rather. Maybe you want to go to a chin up or a pull up. Okay, where your palms facing out. In order to make sure that you're not hitting the same type of stress to the joints over and over again, and we're emphasizing different muscles too, especially if your goal is to strengthen a specific muscle for a purpose or for hypertrophy. Then you're going to really want to do that and focus on those things that you're kind of weak at. Okay, so especially as you get more advanced, I do love making training programs for people like that. They get simple. We really work on the weaknesses and we make a lot of progress. So joint health, periodization, changing your program, right? Not your program, but your approach, still in the realm of your goals. Okay, if you want to get stronger at the squat, you got to squat, right? You can do a pistol, let's load it and figure out your intensities, and so on, in order to make sure to continue to get stronger in the back squat, right? There is research that shows us that single leg exercises do transfer over to bilateral, but not bilateral, it's single, okay? Then we also want to watch and change up our stimulus as well, whether it be load or position, right? And lastly, we want to make sure that we're training exactly where we need to be at, where there's no pain in what we're doing, okay? So remember those things and you'll have long-term success. They're pretty simple principles. They're often neglected, and the result is usually that you have to stop training hard as you get older. I've seen that. Or you're independent doctors and sometimes having to get surgery. So just think about that, okay? Let's train in a balanced way. Let's use periodization, and let's get some awesome results long term. And of course, don't forget to remember to spend time on mobility and so on. All right? We'll talk to you soon.